If you could just start out with like your name and your job and explain like what you do, where you work.
Sure. Diane Corley. I am a licensed radiographer, mammographer, and ultrasound tech. I currently work at Midstate Radiology, but not at the hospital. Midstate Radiology is its own private company, and they have multiple locations throughout central Connecticut, northern Connecticut, a few along the shore. It's a private company, but it's part of the Hartford healthcare system.
What did you do for your education leading up to the job?
Well, the path today is a little bit different, and I'll tell you that in a second. I went to school first for physical therapy, and then I went into radiology and then ultrasound. So my path was a little bit longer. You would not have to do that today. So there are programs throughout now the state of Connecticut and New England. Years and years ago, you didn't actually a lot of times get an education in ultrasound. You usually trained on the job. But nowadays it's usually minimum of 2.5 to 3 years, but most of the programs are 4-year programs. I don't necessarily think that you need a bachelor's to do what I do, but it's a nice way to round out your education, certainly. And then once you do complete a licensed program, you would then have to go on and take boards. So depending on what your specialty would be, you would take specific boards.
What do you do on a day-to-day basis with your job?
So being an ultrasound tech, again, there are different variations of ultrasound techs. Everyone thinks of an ultrasound tech as babies. I actually don't do any pregnancy ultrasounds. So my specialties that I have are in general ultrasound, vascular, small parts, which would encompass thyroid, soft tissue structures, as well as breast. And since I have a mammography license, I chose to get my breast license as well under ultrasound. So, and what do I do on a daily basis? So I can scan anything. What happens is patients will often go to their doctors because they have pain or their blood work is off. So say your blood work was off for your thyroid. Someone would be sent to us to have the thyroid organ looked at. So I would scan the thyroid, patient would come into our office. I would scan the structure, those images, and the report would be done and looked at by a radiologist, a licensed doctor, radiologist. And then the report would go back to that patient's primary care physician or whomever sent them. So patients can come to us from, gastroenterologists, from rheumatologists, general practice physicians, breast surgeons, urologists, all different specialties will send us patients depending on what their need is and what structure they need evaluated. During the day, I'm in a patient care facility right now that does a lot of breast ultrasound, but my day can do, I can scan a patient's carotids just to make sure that they're not obstructed. Your carotid vessel is the main structure that goes and feeds your brain oxygen. It's the #1 place where strokes occur and come from. So we'll evaluate the patient for a plaque and such and blood flow. I can do that. I do several abdomens during the course of the day. An abdominal ultrasound would include a patient's pancreas, their liver, their kidneys. Gallbladder is often a reason for patients to be in our facility, as well as, again, those soft tissue structures, thyroid, and other things.
What's your favorite part of your job?
My patients. People can be difficult, as we all know. We obviously have a variety of personalities coming at you. I really like the ability, most people come in because they're nervous or they're worried or concerned. Something's obviously wrong, so they're there. But I like to take care of that patient when they're in my space, putting them at ease, explaining the study to them, explaining why they're having it done. I try to educate the patient while they're with me. A lot of people don't do that. And I think that once a patient is educated to understand why they're having it done, they'll understand all of the parts they're trying to come together to have this study performed and what the potential outcome could be. And a lot of times we all go to health as being a negative thing. Obviously people are worried. There's the specific things and big things that they're worried about. And a lot of times, more often than not, it's something small that's often a patient, something easily fixable. Somebody's liver functions can be off, but it's simply because their gallbladder's not acting properly. Or quite frankly, their diet's just really bad. Everything we eat. And that's what I explain to patients, everything we eat through education. I explain to them, everything that we eat and goes into our body goes through our liver. So if your liver function tests are not acting appropriately, it could be diet first and foremost, because we are, despite the fact that we say we're really not taking care of ourselves as well as we should. It could be something as simple as their gallbladder or their diet. It doesn't have to be those big concerns that, a lot of people go to. So just educating people and putting them at ease is actually genuinely the highlight of my day.
What's the least favorite part of your job?
Finding something, right? Finding something negative, obviously. I see patients of all ages. So, when you've got a 20-year-old kid on your table and you find something concerning, that even though it's probably easily fixable nowadays, we find things early, and patients really go on to have really good outcomes, because our healthcare system is so good now. But unfortunately, just that person's still going to have to go through something in order to fix it. And that's kind of a bummer, obviously. But at the same time, you're also happy that you found it early. If our healthcare system wasn't this good, people would not find things as early as they do. And their outcomes clearly would be different.
What drew you to your career, or what made you want to do your job?
So I said early on, I went to physical therapy school and I had to leave. And I always wanted, so then I went into more of a desk type of a position. And I always wanted to get back into patient care. I do genuinely like being around people. I like, looking at that little elderly lady and saying, hey, you look pretty today. You know what I mean? It goes a long way. And that you can change that person's life just by making that difficult experience just better. And I like that. So.
What are some important qualities or skills that you think someone would need to do your job?
Attention to detail, definitely. Absolutely. You have to be really paying attention to all the little things, all the way down to your paperwork, what you send out to a radiologist, what goes back to a referring physician matters. You have to be very detailed orientated in the images. I will tell people I'm a glorified photographer. This is where Hallie gets her photography from. I really, that's what I am. I am a glorified photographer that takes pictures of naked bodies, right? It's a good party line, but at the end of the day, if I don't do my job well, because there's not a doctor standing over me, if I don't do my job well, then I could miss something. And the ultimate, outcome for that patient could now change. They may not get looked at again for, say, 6 months or a year. They may say to themselves, oh, that study came back negative, I'm fine, when indeed there is something going on and it was missed. So, there's always we're not robots, there's human error in everything that we do, right? I mean, literally everything we do, there's human error, but you want to minimize that as much as possible. So, as far as my job goes, those attention to details, they're so important.
Lastly, is there anything else you would like to share with someone that is interested in this type of career?
A multitude of things. If you like puzzles, this is actually, I know that sounds strange, but it's kind of a puzzle. Patient healthcare is a puzzle sometimes. So, when I'm doing my job, I may see something that's not giving the answer to what's causing, again, say their liver functions to be off. I may not see something directly, but I can see that something else is off somewhere in the body. So I kind of look at it as a puzzle. I may not see a kidney stone on a patient, but yet their kidneys are backed up. So now my job is to continue to put the pieces of the puzzle together to try and offer as much information to our doctors so that they can put out a good report that helps that doctor get to the next step. So I love that part. You can't just be looking at that one thing in front of you. You have to be thinking, almost globally on a patient. What else could be going on? What else do I really like? What was your question again? I'm so sorry.
Oh, what would you like to share with someone who would be interested in your type of career?
So huge flexibility which I think is great. I mean, you know, if somebody young is coming into this career, there are travel positions that are outstanding. You know what I mean? If I was not working right now and I didn't have a job, I could literally, someone would pay for me to fly to Alaska, work for 8 weeks. You'd get paid really well. You'd stay on site. They'd pay for your flight. They'd pay for your hotel. And I could go scan in Alaska for 8 weeks. So that's really neat to have those travel positions available. You know, they pay bonuses, they pay for your 401ks, you know, they really take care of you and, you know, create an environment where you'd want to continue to do that for a while. You know, you come home, you're off for a couple of weeks, and then you can go somewhere else, which is really kind of neat. The other flexibility, even within my own company, you know, I can work in a hospital setting if I wanted to. You know, which is a little more hands-on. You're more in the OR. I do biopsies every day where I am, different types of biopsies, breast biopsies, thyroid biopsies, liver biopsies, and I am part of that procedure. So that's neat, but then you can just work, if you wanted just to do babies, you could just work in an OB facility and that's all you would do all day long. The other flexibility is just in regards to choosing what you want to specialize in. You can specialize in just vascular work, which is really neat. Again, general things, babies, you know, biopsies and interventional type work, but also to my hours. You know, I work a normal job, Monday through Friday, you know, 8 to 5 type of a thing. But if you only, you know, say you had a family and you just wanted to work second shift, you can find second shift jobs. You know, so that flexibility, you could work, you know, 3 10-hour days if you wanted to. It's just a matter of finding the job, but they're out there. You know, say you were a night owl and you wanted to work an overnight shift at a hospital, they're there. Say you just wanted to work weekends. So that flexibility is terrific. It's terrific for families. It's terrific for being a single person if you wanted to have more time to yourself, travel. So there's a lot of options in our job. You know, if you wanted to have 2 jobs, you know, per diem is a great position to have. You pick and choose what extra shifts you want to work. Say you're saving for something. And the pay's fairly good. It's pretty good. You know, there's a new position that's been out there for say the past 5, 10 years, you know, to be a PA, you know, physician assistant. Well, this is essentially equally, you know, on that pay scale, you know what I mean? So that makes it worth your while. It's a great job. I absolutely love my job. Teaching, you can go into teaching if you wanted to. I taught for many years at Quinnipiac.
Well, I think that's all we have like for questions. So thank you for letting us interview you.